The show begins by looking at Ju-kyung's life over the years. Her parents make hurtful comments about her appearance, saying she's ugly because she inherited her mother's genes. When Ju-kyung was a kid, she wished to transform into a fairy while watching cartoons. Sadly, other kids bullied her, spraying water guns and making fun of her looks. Instead of comparing herself to a cartoon character, she sees herself as a character from a scary or cursed story. As time passes, Ju-kyung tries to talk to her classmates, but they avoid her. She starts listening to rock music, but instead of helping, it leads to more bullying. They even call her Dumpling and make her run errands for them. Hyunbin, a cafeteria worker, likes Ju-kyung's taste in rock music. Ju-kyung develops a crush on him and wonders whether to ask him out. Eventually, she gathers the courage and he agrees to have lunch with her the next day. That night, Ju-kyung bakes cookies for Hyunbin. Meanwhile, her sister Hee-kyung comes home needing the bathroom. Their parents help Hee-kyung into the main bedroom. The next day, Ju-kyung brings her cookies to school, but Se-mi and the bullies force her to get them food. In the rush, she leaves her cookie box behind. They go through it and confront Hyunbin. Se-mi flirts with him to manipulate him, pretending to be interested when she's not. Everything goes wrong for Ju-kyung. The bullies film her asking out Hyunbin, and he rejects her. They surround her, laughing and mocking her. When she asks why they hate her, Se-mi cruelly says it's because she's ugly. Following that, Ju-kyung hurries away and starts crying while walking down the street. She goes into the bathroom by herself and keeps crying, thinking that everyone dislikes her and she has no friends. Feeling really upset, she goes up to the rooftop and seems like she might jump. However, at the last moment, she changes her mind when she sees an advertisement for the late Se-yeon on the building across. This encourages her to decide not to end her life after all. While stepping back, a guy named Lee Soo-ho suddenly appears and grabs Ju-kyung, pulling her away from the edge. He encourages her to face her problems and think about the people who love her, especially her family. Soo-ho tells her not to give up on life. However, Ju-kyung has lost her glasses and struggles down the stairs without them. With the elevators not working, Soo-ho rushes ahead, and Ju-kyung, who can't see well, ends up getting a piggyback ride down the stairs. When they reach the ground floor, it turns out the elevators weren't actually broken. They were temporarily closed for maintenance. Anyhow, Soo-ho takes Ju-kyung outside and puts her in a taxi ready to leave. Just before she goes, she tells him to stay positive. In a flashback, we learn that Soo-ho had a feeling of déjà vu and rushed to help Ju-kyung after seeing images of someone from his past. Ju-kyung's words about finding happiness really resonate with him as he sits at his desk and reflects on what has happened. When Ju-kyung returns home, she finds her mom crying. Thinking it's because of her suicide message, she blames herself, feeling ugly and thinking about plastic surgery. Later, Ju-kyung goes to her room and realizes she and Hae-min were never real friends, especially since Hae-min was forced to record the incident with the cookies. Ju-kyung decides to make a change and starts doing her makeup. When she goes home, her geisha-style makeup scares her mom. Due to financial issues, Ju-kyung learns she's transferring to another school. Before that happens, she starts learning how to apply makeup from online tutorial videos. She also learns how to trim her eyebrows, but ends up shaving off half of them. Despite this, she works hard all night to draw them back on. At the bookstore, Soo-ho tries to buy his favorite comic, but finds the first page ripped out. He's upset and asks the owner to order a new one. Interestingly, the new place Ju-kyung is moving to is near Soo-ho. When Ju-kyung pokes her head out the window, her face mask flies off and hits him in the face. Ju-kyung is determined to start fresh at her new school, Sabum High. She arrives on time, and everyone admires how good-looking and beautiful she is. This warm welcome is a big change from what she's used to. Soo-ho is assigned to show Ju-kyung around, but he walks away from the other girls. Unfortunately, Ju-kyung accidentally gets makeup on his jacket, and he throws it at her in disgust. Despite the warm greetings from others, Soo-ho sits in a huff and ignores her. After class, several girls try to get Ju-kyung's number, and they talk about her makeup. Another girl, Soo-jin, shows up, and Ju-kyung notices her natural beauty. They instantly hit it off, and they are called the queens of the school. They hang out together, and things seem to be going well for Ju-kyung. She even prints out a picture and puts it in a photo frame. Soo-ah and Soo-jin invite Ju-kyung to a group chat, but her brother, Ju-young, threatens to send a picture of her real appearance to her new classmates. Blackmailed, Ju-kyung is forced to do her brother's bidding. He wants the new volume of his favorite comic, and if she gives it to him, he'll delete the picture. Ju-kyung goes to Prince Comics and greets the owner warmly. She finds the needed volume, but Soo-ho grabs it first. As she spins and falls on top of him, the two lock eyes again. Ju-kyung complains about her tiring double life, bringing us back to the moment from the last episode when she falls on Soo-ho at the bookstore. He claims he had the book first, but the owner of Prince Comics gives Ju-kyung a bunch of food to eat. While she quickly eats, Soo-ho suggests she read the book first, and then he can have it. Soo-ho asks Ju-kyung about her age, but she avoids the question and goes home. Soo-ho is curious about her age and name, which the owner tells him is Jubal. Meanwhile, Han-suk, Ju-kim's mom, talks with her friend who admires Ju-kyung's husband for being good-looking. Han-suk disagrees, saying looks don't matter if he's useless. Suddenly, Japil, Ju-kim's husband, doubles over in pain from too much manual labor. While buying makeup, Ju-kyung sees her old bullies with Hae-min. Unable to face them, she quickly leaves, holding back tears. In an alley, she encounters a man named Seo-jun being chased by thugs sent by Cho-rang. When they leave, Ju-kyung has the guy's motorcycle helmet but becomes flustered and hurries away. On her way home, Soo-ho's father returns, and they start fighting in the dojo. There's no love between them, especially since Soo-ho's father cheated on his mother. Soo-ho refuses to live with his father and, after winning the fight, tells him never to return like this again. By chance, Ju-kyung and Soo-ho run into each other in the comic book, but she doesn't reveal her face until she falls off a stool, just like on the rooftop. Soo-ho catches her and playfully comments on how she always falls into his arms. Gradually, they start to connect, especially over a confidentiality agreement. Soo-ho signs it but notices it's similar to his favorite comic book, which happens to be Ju-kyung's favorite too. To return the cursed mask book to him, Ju-kyung makes noodles and they end up eating together. It happens to be Soo-ho's birthday. Ju-kyung brings the book to school after witnessing Super Soo-jin chase down a pervert. Seo-jun, another student, is also at the school, and the girls are drawn to both Soo-ho and Seo-jun. They used to be best friends, but something happened in the past, making them enemies. In class, Seo-jun settles in, and Ju-kyung surprises Soo-ho with a smile. As Soo-ho leaves for the office, Cho-rang and other boys confront Seo-jun. He teases them, but it seems he still owes them. Meanwhile, Ju-kyung goes to the rooftop with Soo-ho and returns the book. However, she quickly realizes there's a note about her true appearance inside. In a hurry, she tells him there are sanitary pads in the bag, causing Soo-ho to quickly hand the bag back to her. Later in the evening, Soo-ho gets Ju-kyung's number and asks for it back. He texts her the address, telling her to be there by 9. However, Ju-kyung is unsure if he means the jacket or the book, so she debates what to wear. Instead, she chooses neither and arrives with a motorcycle helmet on. It turns out he wants to see Ju-kyung without makeup. This prompts her to quickly leave the table, wipe off the makeup, hand over the comic book, and head home. At school, Ju-kyung wears makeup and returns Soo-ho's jacket. Meanwhile, Tae-hoon expresses affection for Soo-ah in a grand way, singing and declaring his love for her. Unfortunately, the cake ends up on Ju-kyung's face, but she realizes that wiping it off will reveal her true appearance. In a hurry, she jumps over Seo-jun's back in the hallway before deciding what to do. Thankfully, Soo-ho arrives, covering her face with his jacket and leading her away from the crowd. Soo-ho helps Ju-kyung out of her tough situation. Walking together, they pass Seo-jun and head to another bathroom where Ju-kyung reapplies her makeup. She comes out and thanks Soo-ho, but it's actually Seo-jun standing there. Hurrying back to class, Ju-kyung wonders if Soo-ho knows what she looks like without makeup. Determined to find out, she grabs her brother, who claims she's committing fraud by changing her face. Throughout the day, Ju-kyung struggles to focus. She imagines Soo-ho as a vampire seeking revenge. However, he surprises her by handing over her science textbook. After an exhausting day, Ju-kyung receives a call from Suho asking her, as Jubal, to come to the comic store. With flickering lights, Suho mentions a girl at school like her. Ju-kyung avoids the questions, claiming not to be the Ju-kyung he knows. But her mother shows up at the comic store, revealing her true name, and Suho finally discovers the truth. It turns out he found out earlier through her package at school. At home, Ju-kyung gains inspiration from her sister playing video games. She decides not to give in to fear and face everything head-on. With renewed determination, she confronts Suho on the school field. Eventually, she pleads with him not to say anything, and he agrees, as long as she does everything he tells her to do. In class, Ju-kyung finds herself running errands for Suho. However, she is stopped in the hallway by Seo-jun, who demands she return his helmet. Unfortunately, her brother has sold it on a resale app. In another place, Soo-jin gets a message from her mother asking her to come home and have dinner with Mr. Choi. Suho messages, and Ju-kyung is forced to go out to pick up a book for him. It's a quick visit, and she doesn't stay to hear what he has to say. The next day, Ju-kyung writes a note to Seo-jun, telling him patience is a virtue and that her brother sold the helmet on a resale app. Seo-jun pretends it's a love letter when talking to his friends, while Ju-kyung goes back inside. Seeing Ju-kyung's suspicious behavior, Soo-jin starts to suspect something is wrong. When she sees her friend talking to Ju-kyung on the stairs, she assumes Seo-jun is bullying Ju-kyung and goes out to confront him. Ju-kyung is invited to the rooftop to eat with Suho. However, he doesn't eat until she encourages him to try the mixed-up food. Ju-kyung asks him for one final task to ensure she's not in his debt anymore. And that task involves singing at the school talent show. Instead of singing, Ju-kyung surprises everyone by dancing on stage. However, it turns out it's not the talent show. It's a meeting for teachers discussing which students will get into university. Suho sees her, struggles to hide his smile, and Ju-kyung backs away shyly in embarrassment. Back at home, Ju-kyung receives a bit of hope when her brother drops off the motorcycle helmet. Later, she reflects on her double life and realizes she even believes she's ugly. Heading to the comic store to see Suho, Ju-kyung encounters a group of kids who bully her about her looks and tell her to look down at her feet. Upset, she eventually arrives at the store and returns Suho's book. She opens up about her feelings and tells him not to play with her emotions. After covering her with his jacket, Suho helps fix her cut leg. Before calling her name, Seo-jun overhears and watches everything from a distance. At school the next day, Seo-jun confronts Suho, accusing him of being happy after causing harm to his friend. He then sits next to Ju-kyung, deciding to eat at the same table. Suho takes offense and grabs his former friend, ready to explode.